also a topological space. So the Lie group has a topology on it, so it's a topological space. It's really cool. And in this topological space, the way the topology is created is so that the group operation is continuous. So if I write the group operation as, say, phi acting on A and B, this function phi is continuous. And also the operation of producing an inverse is continuous. That means the map that goes from A to A inverse, that's a continuous map. And once you did that, you now had a continuous group that was a Lie group and a topological space. So it's two things. It's a topological space and a group. I guess what I'll do is, you know what, I'm going to make all the topological features red and the group features black to show you that it's a combination of things. Now, I'm kind of choosing these things to be red. A topology only exists for topological space, so that's all red. The function phi actually exists whether the topological space exists or not, because phi is just a way of rewriting the group operation, right? So, if I write A dot B for the group operation, phi A B, that's just another way of writing the group operation. What makes the group operation so important is that the topology, the topological structure of this group G has to be such that these two functions, the group operation function and the mapping from every element to its inverse, those have to be continuous mappings. So in order for them to be continuous mappings, then you have to have a topology designed to make it so. So it's not just that's not the fact that the function phi exists. It's the topology is defined in a way where the function phi is continuous under the rules of topology, which is what we discussed a couple lectures ago. But then we demanded even more. We demanded that we could find a mapping, let's see, I'll just do that in black. We demanded that we could find mappings, I guess I'll call them charts, right? U, I, gamma I. And those charts would take this manifold, this topological space, and make it a manifold. And I'll draw that this way because we've been exploring the Rn space using this sort of, using SU2 and SU3, which map to sort of these spheres or these circles. And now in our case, what we did, interestingly, is one map put I at the origin. And what we didn't do is we didn't create a second map for the work we did in the past few lectures, but we could have. Right? I could have done a second mapping, and if I had done that, then this wouldn't have been UI. Let me just be a little more specific, right? This would have been, say, this would have been U1, gamma 1, and then this would have been U2, gamma 2. And this wouldn't have been I, this would have been minus I, right? We would have set everything up at minus I. And the coordinate system here would be completely fine up to the surface of the sphere. Then it's no good. Then you can't use this mapping. But this coordinate system would be completely good at I, which equates to the surface of the sphere here, but it's no good at, this coordinate system, its origin would be minus I, which equates to the surface of this sphere. And this coordinate system would begin at minus I, and at the surface of the sphere, that would be the identity I, right? That was sort of the way we did it for SO3 and SU2. I'm trying to make this a general picture. So this is not absolutely true for an arbitrary group. I'm using these circles, I minus I as an example of, this is a manifold. Manifolds have charts. Charts go to different regions of Rn. The charts in principle overlap. And this is what establishes a coordinate system on the manifold. And I'm using this, matter of fact, I'm going to erase this I and minus I now just to make sure we have everything in complete generality. Well, even the sphere isn't really completely general, because you can imagine some group, Lie group, topological Lie group is redundant, but a Lie group that, it doesn't have a problem at pi and 2 pi, right? For example, the one we did in our elementary example that had to do with the translations and rotation, the translations of the coordinate system, right? That doesn't have anything to do with pi. Okay. So what we discovered is now we started adding up all of this stuff, right? We got this group in this topological space. In addition to being a topological space, it happened to be a manifold. Now, each of these things is different, right? Each of these things is, no one thing implies another, right? Being a group is not a prior necessity to being a topological space. So if you are a group, it's interesting, certain groups are topological spaces, and Lie groups are among those. Not all topological spaces can be turned into manifolds, but some can. Lie groups can. So Lie groups are not only topological groups, but they're also manifolds. So now we've got this structure going on. And then what else did we learn? Well, we also discovered that there was this thing called the Lie algebra, and the Lie algebra had generators. Let's call them xi. They had essentially a commutation relation, right? Let's see, how did that work? It was Ci, j, k, x, k, where we're summing over indices that are both lower. Remember, it's not space-time stuff, so you can sum over lower indices. And we learned that the Lie group and the Lie algebra are related through this process called exponentiation, right? Exponentiation. And that would help us generate these Lie groups. So we learned about that. And this is an algebra. Right? This is an algebra, which is yet a different algebraic structure. It's different from a group. It's different from a topological space. We studied it in great detail, but this is sort of where we kind of realize, all right, now we kind of understand how all this stuff fits together mathematically. Then we just recently went even a little farther. What we discovered now was that if you look at this topological space, if it's got the right path connectedness properties, there's actually another group out there associated with this thing, and that we call the fundamental group. Now there's a question of how do we understand the fundamental group relative to all of this stuff, right? And that's really going to be the topic of today's lecture. It's definitely the fundamental group is a separate group, right? It's a mathematical structure that we have to identify it independently of anything else. It has to be a known mathematical structure, but it's a property of G, right? This is the Lie group of G. This is the Lie algebra of the Lie group G. This is the fundamental group of the Lie group G. These two things are more independent independent, though. The Lie algebra is a completely independent sort of set that can be used to understand and create the Lie group. The fundamental group of the Lie group is actually like a property of this topological space. The fundamental group of the topological space of our Lie group actually has a certain fundamental group, right? This guy is not a subset of this group, nor is it something we necessarily care about living outside the group. It's simply a property like, like you might say, the Lie group is simply connected. The Lie group is, or the Lie group is, it has this topology to it. You would say the fundamental group of this particular Lie group is this thing, this pi1. So you actually might take the fundamental group, you might sort of put it in here. The problem with that is it makes it look like it's some sort of subgroup, and it's not a subgroup, it's sort of a property. So I'm going to float it out here because it's a property, and I think what I'll do is I'll bind it with these little lines, something of that nature, right? And this is all just a way to sort of organize this stuff in your mind. Now, the good news is there are certain other groups that are very important to understanding the core Lie group, right? The fundamental group is one of them. But it's unusual in that it's not a subset, like I said, but there are some subsets of any Lie group that are really important to call out. And we haven't done that yet, so that's where we're going to break a little new ground today. And those subsets are, of course, subgroups of G, and in particular the ones we care about are the invariant subgroups of G. So as a reminder, we studied invariant subgroups in detail in lesson 21. And the big point was that invariant subgroups are usually they're always the kernel of a homomorphism. So those things, you have to understand that stuff, right? You can't really go on unless you understand about the idea of the kernel of a group homomorphism. And I'll emphasize, group homomorphism, we've already talked about homeomorphisms, and homeomorphisms are topological properties. Homomorphisms are homeomorphisms are topological maps. Homomorphisms are group maps. These are unrelated except that they've got this home in the beginning and ism at the end, right? But mathematically, these are profoundly different ideas, and it's easy to confuse this stuff, especially when you start blending everything together. The problem is our Lie group is a blend of a group and a topological space. So our Lie group can have homeomorphisms to other topological spaces, because any map from a topological space to another topological space could be, in principle, a homeomorphism, or could possibly be a homeomorphism. But it's a group, and as a group, it probably does have some homomorphism mapping between it and another group. So we are interested in knowing the invariant subgroups of G, because that will help us understand all of the possible group homomorphisms that are out there. Again, this stuff here, all in lesson 21. So now we'll take a moment to look at G. Now we're getting back to sort of, we're caught up with ourselves, and now we're going to get back into what Gilmore is talking about, that we need to start reconstructing. So Gilmore takes a look now at, Gilmore takes a close look at this topological group G, and considering it as a topological space, one of the properties of a topological space is the property of connectedness. So it may be that the topological group G, I'll just put it as G, I guess TG, right? Where G is the set, and T is the topology of the set, and the set also happens to be a group. It could have one component, which basically means it's connected, it's totally connected. And connected in the topological sense means that you can't find two subgroups A and B such that A intersection B is the null set, and the entire group G equals A union B, right? That's what connectedness is. So it could be that G is connected, and you can kind of think of that as sort of like a piece of the plane, or a plane, because that's all connected. We've already discussed there's also this notion of path connectedness, which is very, very closely related to connectedness. But, topology is weird. There's path connected spaces, or there's connected spaces that are not path connected, and really just functionally weird stuff that we don't have to worry about. But this space could be connected, and we would maybe indicate it this way. Now, it is our group, right? So somewhere in this group there would be the identity element. Let's see if I can... the identity element would be in there, right? That's one element of our group. But it may in fact be that G is not connected. In fact, G doesn't have to be connected at all. G could be disconnected. And if it's disconnected, we might have to add some disconnected components. And I'm doing these as planes because that's how Gilmore does it. But I guess in principle we could have done it just in abstract form, where I could have said, okay, this is one component of G, this is another component of G, this is another component of G, this is another component of G. But this is the set G, right? So the elements don't appear multiple times, so the identity might appear here. It's always important to know which of the connected components the identity goes in, because only that component, only the connected component with the identity can be a group. Now, just to be clear, Gilmore, when he draws these guys as little planes like this, instead of abstract set circles, he's already making a nod to the idea that, remember, don't forget, the Lie group is a manifold, and a manifold can be given a coordinate system, and they're always homomorphic locally, chart by chart, to R, and that's kind of what he's doing. He's basically skipping the step where, if I did it my way, I'd have to say, okay, so there's a bunch of charts, U, gamma, for each one of these things there's a bunch of charts, so keep track of the fact that each of these are manifolds. So we can skip all that by just using planes to begin with, and understand behind all of that is this whole manifold logic. I keep emphasizing that because I want these words to sort of sink into the people watching this lecture. Manifolds are a type of topological space. Our group happens to be a topological space, and then there's this algebra floating around out there. Our topological space has a associated fundamental group that's based on that whole thing about paths, and we're going to study this a lot more soon. But the idea that manifolds are there to give us coordinate systems, that's reflected in these ideas of planes. So we'll go back to Gilmore's way. See, so here we have some planes. I'll see if I can move this over and make a few more. Okay, so this might be a picture of a disconnected Lie group, right? And it's still a group, right? So there's still like an element here, A, and then an element here, B, and the product is somewhere in the Lie group, right? Maybe over there, C, I suppose. But what is important to understand is that the identity lives on this particular sheet, and that is the one sheet that has to be a subgroup, right? That sheet has to be a subgroup of the entire Lie group, and in fact, that sheet not only is a subgroup, but it is also an invariant subgroup. Right, so so the whole Lie group is the union of all of these things. But this means this disconnected sheet that contains the identity, if there is one, that must be an invariant subgroup of the entire group G. So if we call, say, if I call that H, I would then write H is an invariant subgroup of G. Well, let's stick with Gilmore's notation. We'll call that G sub 0. G sub 0 is the connected component that contains the identity. So now we recall the fact that any group, for example, our group G, you can form all of the cosets with an invariant subgroup, and that would become what we call the factor group. The factor group is the set of cosets of the invariant subgroup that we're interested in, which is G0 in this case. That is going to be a factor group, which we will call, as Gilmore does, D. And it's always going to be, in the case of a Lie group, D will be a discrete group. Now notice G is a continuous group itself. In fact, G is also a manifold, as reflected by this plane. And each of these disconnected components, right, each of these guys, they're also manifolds. Because remember, this is a topological space. So each of these disconnected components are also topological spaces, and they're also all manifolds. And in fact, they're all identical. They're all equivalent as manifolds. This manifold is structured exactly the same way as this one, and the same way as this one. They're all structured as manifolds in the same way. But only this one is also a group. In fact, so this is now a group and a manifold, and it has a Lie algebra, so it fits all of this stuff here. But none of these do. None of these are groups, because the identity lives here. It doesn't live in any of those places, so they can't be groups. So, but nevertheless, being a group, right, being group G, and having identified an invariant subgroup, then we can form this factor group. So D is the factor group of the Lie group G through its to the connected portion that contains the identity, which is G0. Now, for the next part, I want to warn you that, again, I think back in lesson, well, I can't remember what lesson it was, probably around lesson 21, I was critical of Gilmore's description of the factor group in his book. And that criticism sort of continues on here. So I'm going to explain sort of my corrected interpretation of how this actually works. Right? But the point is if I go to each of these groups, each of these, not groups, but each of these disconnected pieces, and I find an example element in each one. So I might find an example element here, I'll call it, well, here I'll choose the identity I, and I'll call that element D0. And, well, D's not a good choice. That sort of falls into this error. I'm going to call this little G0. Now I pick an element here, and I call that little G1. And I pick an element here, and it'll be little G2, and this will be little G3, and here will be, say, little G4. Right? So this disconnected component is going to be the coset little G1 on G0. Right? Why am I putting it there? Let me move it here. That's going to be little G1, G0. Let's shrink it up a little bit. And this other connected component is going to be little G2 on G0. And this connected component will be little G3, group operation G0, and then of course G4, group operation G0. Now that obviously doesn't matter because since G is a invariant subgroup, I could have written G0 dot G3, right? Because it's not that this group commutes, but the subgroup generated by multiplying from the left is equal to the subgroup generated by multiplying from the right. Okay? So each of these disconnected components is a coset. This is the definition of the coset, right? It is a coset by the invariant subgroup. And those cosets will also form this factor group. That's what this factor group is, right? And that's an important point to understand, is that the total group G is described fully by this little plane here, and also by the factor group that it creates with the entire group. The factor group that the invariant subgroup, the connected component of the group G that has the identity, that invariant subgroup creates a factor group. So understanding this invariant subgroup of the group G and the factor group really gets you to pretty much understanding everything. Now, just to be clear about my objection to the way Gilmore does this, and I'll just alert you to it, you can make of it what you will. He basically asserts that the group D is a set that has elements D0, D1, D, D whatever, Dn, right? And then he talks about the ith connected component equals Di G0. And this is hugely problematic, right? Because D is a group, the factor group, and G is part of another group G. These are not the same group. The factor group is not the same group as the invariant subgroup. So this expression doesn't mean anything, because D is not an element of the group G. So when Gilmore writes this down, it's really open to massive confusion, and in my opinion. So the way to understand it is really the way I understood it, is this is the coset. Because the way I've done it, right, is G is an element of the group. So G times G0, this is a perfectly well-defined, this product, G1, G0, that's perfectly well-defined, because G is an element of the group, little G1 is an element of the group G, and G0 is a subgroup of the group G, so this is clearly a coset of the group G. But this kind of means that it doesn't make any sense. Now, if it's somewhat half making some logic, I mean, the way he draws the pictures in the book are actually, somewhat okay, but again, he's using, in fact, the way he draws the picture, literally he puts the element D inside the plane, right, D4, right, this would have been D3, but D is an element of the factor group, which is not the group, so they don't belong in these sets. It's just terribly confusing. But nevertheless, the general point that he's trying to make is still absolutely valid, which is that the factor group D and understanding the invariant subgroup of understanding this particular invariant subgroup, because there could be other invariant subgroups, right? complex structure. It has, if it was disconnected, it will have a connected component that does have the identity. So it will always have a sort of G0. But it could have other. In fact, it will have other invariant subgroups. I mean, we're going to see a few examples of that. But this is not the invariant subgroup, it's an invariant subgroup. So if I'm saying the invariant subgroup, that's not good. It should be an invariant subgroup. Alright, so another important element of this narrative, this story, is that if this group G is of this structure, meaning it is a disconnected group, if it's disconnected, it is certainly not simply connected, right? Obviously, simply connected, well, as a reminder, that you can, simply connected means you can not only create a path from any point to any other point, but the fundamental group is the identity, right? So in this circumstance, the fundamental group would not be the identity. And that should be painfully obvious because if I started a loop here, right, that loop would certainly be homeomorphic, homotopic. There's homeomorphic, homologous, and homotopic. We haven't talked about homology, but that's certainly homotopic to the constant. And if I did that here too, that would be homotopic to a constant. And each of these pieces, as I've drawn them, are simply connected, right? The way I've drawn it as a plane, right? But the fact that you have 5 of them means the group as a whole is not simply connected, right? I guess the way to say it is, let me be formal. In order to be simply connected, you first must be path connected, right? So if your space isn't even path connected, it's never going to be simply connected. So our requirement for simple connectedness means the fundamental group of the topological space is the identity group, just the trivial group. But you don't even bother to check that if the space isn't path connected in the first place. And remember, path connectedness was really important because in order to establish a fundamental group for the entire space, right, what we had to do was we had to say, okay, so here's our space, let's pick a point, excuse me. So we pick a point, A, and then we start playing around with all these paths, looking for holes in the space or whatever it is that obstructs the ability to be homotopic, and then we calculate the homotopic group around the point A. Sometimes this is called a pointed space, right? A pointed space is given as the space X, I call that X, and a point A, right? And so this might be called a pointed space. But the problem is, or the point is, no pun intended, is that I can do this for another point B, and gee, how do I know that the homotopy group is the same for every point? And there's a proof that says, well, if the space is path connected, I can create paths between the points, and then the loops and the paths can combine in a fashion that proves that you'll get the same group no matter what point you have. And then we talk about the fundamental group of the set, not the fundamental group of the set and the point. But this path connectedness is critical to that proof, right? So you can't talk about the fundamental group of a topological space unless it's